Alright, before anybody asks me any dumb questions, yes, the battery is unhooked. No, it's not removed. But eventually it's got to go from there to there. Excuse the piece of rope right there. So, be the list. I'm thinking, I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. Maybe for right now I will put this transmission back under here. I don't know. Because A, I can roll it out of here, and B is I could get another 400 motor and just bolt on here like that. That 14 horsepower it smokes, just bolt it on here to keep the water out of the trans. I don't know, all considerations. Worry about that after this. So remember to get Mr. Pod out of the truck this morning, so here we go. I'll video my success or failure. I think this block setup's gonna work. My only concern would be putting it in. I push it forward too much, but hard to say here. So anyhow, let me get set up and I'll turn the camera back on. I was thinking about something. Other than the 424 video I did last year, I never really covered what you have to do to remove one of these transmissions. So I'll hit on the points here. Pretty much, if you're going to have the motor attached to the trans and you're pulling it out, you got to unhook the wiring, the cable going to the starter, the throttle and choke cable, and the fuel line. And that's pretty much it going to the motor. Now, on the transmission, starting in the front, and we'll start with the linkages on the right hand side here, you have to, what I think is easiest, is take the pin out for the forward and reverse linkage, and then both the shifter links will float freely. Then there is the right hand brake. There's just a cotter pin in there that comes out in a washer. There's the rod for the 2-speed diff that goes right there, goes back there. Just a cotter pin and a washer on it. PTO is a little bit more complicated because most of them have that spring on there. So what I've always done is I just stretch them on and off by hand, and then that allows you to be able to work on the cotter pin and get it out. You could probably remove it without doing that, but it's just easier and you don't have to fight with it. And then you have the high-low shift linkage. That right there goes there with another cotter pin for the left hand brake. Then in the front there is a bolt where the handlebars would go if this was a walk behind on either side, and then there's 2 studs. Hopefully you guys can see them down in there, but one of them is actually, you guys can see it. One of them, the whole stud came out on this one, so you don't see that. But other than that, that's really all there is to taking these transmissions out. That's why I can do it in an hour or something like that, swap them over. So, okay, like I said, I'm going to put you guys on the tripod. When I get set up here, I'm going to take out this bolt on this side first because I have nowhere to run if this fantastically explodes or cartwheels. This side, just kind of take the bolt out and be standing way back and have an exit strategy, as we call it. So, alright, here we go. I'll get it out of the frame and then decide if I want to try and clean it up some or what I want to do with the transmission. It'd be easier to try and wire wheel it with it out of there. From what I remember, all I did was pressure wash it at work, and that's how I got some of the yellow to come out on it. So, anyhow, here we go. I'd love to just paint this, but yeah, this tractor's kind of ugly looking anyhow. It's original looking, and this is reddish looking. So, here we go. Alright, you guys ready? Pull this transmission out on camera, and then take this last bolt out. Hopefully nothing too fantastic. Well, it didn't move at all. That might be more scary, I don't know. Could be the fact that it wasn't pulling up on with a racket strap, I don't know. So, shooting myself, that jack was doing something. Okay, I'm technically free of the frame. Heater just shut off, so it's warm enough in here finally. I say finally, it is 10:30. This is when I got out of here and got moving this morning. I ordered some more parts for this project too, like the hopefully the correct steering spindle that'll work. Hopefully you guys are still in frame here. If I had a nice concrete floor, this would be easy. I'm doing it on bricks. Just kind of gotta be careful. Nope. There we go, the transmission is out. Just realized I never picked up my phone this morning. That would have been good if I dropped the transmission on my foot. But loose anyhow, I'm going to decide if I want to try and attack this with the wire wheel a little bit or pick at it with a screwdriver or some of this paint. Like I said, the engine shroud, there's not a whole lot I can do with. It's going to be red. But I can try and clean the transmission up. Like the front of the transmission is actually like clean yellow. You guys can kind of see it, but regardless, that's what I'm going to putz with here for a little while, and then show you guys when I go to put the transmission back in here. I would like to use these tires. So, I don't know, just a whole bunch of parts putting together. Anyhow, like I was saying, I ordered another left-hand, what I call the steering arm, steering knuckle. Anyhow, so, okay, let me putz around for a while, and I'll bring you guys back when I put it in. So guys, tell me what you think. Was it worth an hour of wire wheeling? is way less red, and it looks a whole lot better in my eyes. Now back here on the motor, I think they actually prepped it right. Because underneath the red, there is this orange layer, and you can kind of see it on the air cleaner here, I think. You guys can see it like right here. Orange with like yellow underneath. And I tell you what, that stuff is on there pretty good. It'll come off, but it's, I don't know that's really worth it. Especially, you know, like I said, I'd love to just switch the shroud on this, put some yellow ones on it. So, I'll keep my eyes peeled. I'll watch eBay and stuff like that and just see if I come across a set and the coil's easy enough, I can pull it off and paint it. Or if I get a set of tins, or close enough a set of tins, I can get some yellow paint and paint it all one color. I mean, you'll obviously be able to tell it's been repainted, but what are you going to do? So, about ready to roll this in here. I'm going to do some last little checks here and make sure I got everything I wanted to get while this was apart. And then we'll swap her over. So, here we go, guys. Sorry you guys are looking through the jack handle. Still on the tripod. Alrighty guys, so I'm going to try and get this transmission bolted in the frame before I break for lunch here. Just kind of looking for any hazards that might hold me up. About the only thing I got left is the brake rods, and there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Just trying to make sure you get everything up out of the way as best you can, and just go for broke. From what I remember before, I think I just grab that rear hitch and roll it in if you still got the rear hitch on. If you don't have the rear hitch on, well, then I got nothing for you. I'm sorry. If I can get the second stud started. Stud went in easy peasy lemon squeezy. It kind of has me scared a little bit. But what you need to do is tighten these top two bolts on the studs, which I know you guys won't be able to see and draw it in. Alright. So the next question is, what do I do with the socket? There it is. These are fine thread too, so sooner you gotta thread them on like a half an inch, it takes a while. Okay. I gotta draw it in. one started. I think it's actually at a regular. That side needs to draw it in yet too. Really, there's only 4 bolts that hold this frame to the transmission. I'm surprised they never added a support like back in here somewhere or something. That's probably why these 400 frames are real common to be cracked somewhere. There we go. Now, I'm going to put the battery back on my impact. You can do this by hand, but this is so much simpler if you can get an impact on these and tighten them up. So, transmission's in. One second here. Let the jack down. Not holding anything. Well, I'll show you guys from the back, I guess. One thing about working in a small shop, you're always shuffling things around to make room to do something else. And last, it might be least, I don't know. There's no tension on this now, by the way. A little bit, but. There you go, guys. Held up on its own wheels. Now I just gotta go through and do the pain in the butt stuff. Hook up all the linkages, see if they're adjusted right. The big thing's gonna be the electrical on this a little bit. Now I did, you guys are still on the tripod here, so bear with me, but I did replace the points wire going over there, because this was the wire going to the points. I'm guessing the wire melted through or was bad in here. There's actually white, blue, there's actually 3 different wires in here. You can see this connection. This connection here, let's untape one of these just for shits and giggles, because the wires are literally just twisted together. So, I'm glad I took that apart. Just twisted together in like a knotted mess. Hey. What some people do is pretty sketchy, so. Actually, that transmission looks halfway decent in there if you just go like this. Don't look at the motor. Even the motor's got a good bit of yellow sticking out now. It ain't too bad. So, like I said, one day I'll do something to fix all the red back here. Even if I get the majority of it just by switching on a new set of tins. Be pretty good. So, I am going to break for lunch. I'm not going to show hooking up all the linkage just because it's time consuming. If I have trouble getting one of the pins in, it takes me 40 minutes to adjust it and get it to lock in right, you know, blah blah. So that's why I'm not going to show that sort of stuff. I'll show you guys everything when it's done. I might sit here and pick at some more of the red paint. Like I'm going to change the oil fill cap, or I might just leave it just as a reminder of what it was. And yeah, that's it. So, On to the next part, gentlemen. Now I'm hungry. I'm going for lunch. Alright guys, so I actually got all the linkage hooked up before I left for lunch. Everything went pretty smoothly. The only thing I didn't check was I'm going to have to pull the wheels off and adjust the brakes anyhow. It's easier to do it that way, trust me. You can do it without taking the wheels off, but the adjustment nut, where's it at? It's right there in the front. I don't even know if you guys can see it, but that's pretty much what I got to do adjustment wise. Forward and reverse works. It's locking forward there and locked in reverse. High-low axle range shifts. PTO shifts. I just happen to have the dog gear lined up now. This one is the hardest. High and low range, but does go in. The low side's a little bit tighter, kind of the way I like it. But yeah, so fuel line, throttle and choke cable, electrical. The last one is going to take the most amount of time. I know that because this has a 5-prong setup in it right here. And to put this back close to original, this originally had a push button start. So well, I was going to say I'm debating about pulling the whole harness out of that, but that's not necessarily true either. Does this have a cigarette lighter on it? No, that's an inline fuse. This doesn't even have a cigarette lighter. Interesting. I thought they all had a cigarette lighter on there instead of a fuse. Where was the fuse at originally on these? I don't know. I don't think any of my 400s have a fuse, come to think of it. Anyhow, so, like I said, stopping for lunch. This might be the end of part 2. I don't know. Depends on how the video stacks up, if there's a lot. And I know I've done a couple like 8-minute clips. So, alright, going for lunch. It's going to be it for right now. If it is the end of this one, later guys.